You know, true father and true mother are two different individual truth bodies. One is a man, the other is a woman. The big difference between the two, they have two different individual characters. Therefore, when they speak, when true mother speaks, sometimes she might sound a little bit different from what father said. She's not a robot. She's not a machine. She's a living individual. But because of that kind of a superficial kind of difference, some people say they are not united. But I believe personally that true father and true mother are completely united in the domain of total devotion, dedication. And finally, I met the unification movement and I attended the 7-day workshop. And the second half of the workshop was focusing upon lecturing on the principle of restoration. That explained about how much suffering God was going through, God has been going through throughout history. That made me cry and weep. Tears came from my eyes. I never knew that God was a suffering God. So I was taking notes from the lecture, but my tears, tons of tears came out of my ears. Therefore, tears went on the notebook. Every single page of the notebook became so wet I couldn't write notes any longer. I brought a handkerchief. Handkerchief became entirely wet. For hours and 5 hours, 6 hours, tears kept coming. I told God in my prayer, if that's the case, I never mind about my own happiness. I will sacrifice myself entirely just to make Heavenly Father a happy God. That was my pledge and determination. And after workshop was over, I went back home and my father found it out. He had a great expectation from me because I was a Tokyo University student, and if you're a Tokyo University student, most likely you have a promising future in the society of Japan. My father became so mad at me, so he hit me physically, my head here. "You're stupid," he said. Okay, this story, I mentioned about this story so many times in front of the true father. True father loved it very much because I left my own physical father to go to our true father. That's the story. When I was hit, it was painful, of course, but my spiritual eyes became open and I saw Jesus being crucified. That made me cry even more. I saw in my vision, I saw Old Testament prophets being stoned and thrown away from the villages and hometowns. That made me cry a lot. I wept. And my father's response, "Now I found out you are crazy. Tomorrow I will take you to a mental hospital. So go to bed." He held my hand, but he released me to let me go to bed. Then this brother came back. He looked so great, okay? Having notes with him. He stood in front of everybody in the class, lecture hall 1. He proudly reported about Father's words. You know what happened? You don't know. I didn't tell you yet. When he started reading his notes, some kind of spiritual stimuli were traversing, coming through the air and piercing my heart. I felt as if your Father was there. And I enjoyed entirely his report of the leaders' meeting. And I saw the real presence of true parents, even though I didn't go to East Garden. So I decided that UTS probably is very difficult. So I decided to disappear from UTS. But before disappearing, to disappear, I have to drive my car, which was a beat-up car. I stood in front of the center, in the center of the soccer field. The sky was blue, clean, much sunshine, green. I looked up the sky, and I said to God in my prayer, God, probably President David Kim has his own situation, therefore, let me try to understand that. Anyway, God, Heavenly Father, UTS is not my seminary. UTS is not mine. UTS is yours. Therefore, if you have anyone who is better than me, please bring that person to the seminary. And to make the seminary a wonderful place of education. If I'm not needed, that's fine. As long as the UTS, which belongs to you, becomes a wonderful place of education, I'm satisfied. I'm so happy. By shedding many tears, I offer the prayer. I felt as if that prayer was really piercing the sky because of my desperation in spirit. Then I drove my car, going back home,